Friends, comrades, and guests, welcome. Thank you for coming from different countries and communities. Your presence shows the struggle for dignity, ecology, and freedom crosses all borders. Before I begin, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to our friends from CPT for organizing this event and for unwavering commitment to justice and peace in Kurdistan. Your continued effort, especially your documentation and reporting on ecocide, has given voice to communities whose suffering is too silent. Your solidarity strengthens both local action and international awareness. Thank you for standing with us and for your courage, your friendship. What I will share today is rooted in Kurdistan, but it speaks to global struggle against colonization, displacement, and ecological destruction. This is not only a story of pain, but also of resistance, especially the role of women and communities who defend the life itself. The modern Kurdish experience being with the colonization and forced division into 4 parts after World War I. The Treaty of Lausanne, 1923, cemented the partition of Kurdistan into 4 states, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria, and leaving Kurds without a sovereign homeland. This fragmentation weakened the national cohesion. States imposed assimilation policies, Turkification in Turkey, Arabization in Syria and Iraq, Persianization in Iran, while banning or stigmatizing Kurdish language, dress, and tradition. Political uprisings were brutally suppressed, and Kurds were denied citizenship, representation, and rights. This background is essential to understanding how ecological destruction later became a tool of war and repression. From political domination to destruction of the land itself, colonization did not stop at borders. It entered the soil, the water, and the forest. The colonization and fragmentation of Kurdistan did not just divide a people politically. It also set the stage for ecological destruction. Each state pursued assimilationist policies, and nature itself became a part of domination. Forests were burned to deny guerrillas cover. Dams flooded Kurdish heritage, and farmland seized or left vulnerable. Denied autonomy, Kurds has no authority to defend themselves and their ecosystem. This background explains why ecological destruction later became a weapon of repression across all parts of Kurdistan. To understand this deeply, we turn to thinkers who linked between freedom, land, and ecology. And for my subject, I would like to use the theory lens or perspective by Frantz Fanon, Vandana Shiva, and Abdullah Öcalan. The first theory that I used is by Frantz Fanon. He teaches that colonial violence always includes violence against the land. In Kurdistan, burned village, chemical contamination, and submerged heritage confirm his insight that destroying the environment is a way to destroy the people who depend on it. And the second perspective that I use it is by Vandana Shiva. She's a global and Indian ecofeminist. She's my hero. She exposes how so-called development or maldevelopment often mask exploitations. In Kurdistan, mega projects like dams and industrialization flood villages, erase biodiversity, and displace people, all in the name of progress. The third lens is Abdullah Öcalan, the Kurdish thinker. He offered a vision of resistance, one that links freedom with ecology. He teaches that liberation requires harmony with nature and community-based power. In Rojava, these ideas inspire local ecological initiatives and democratic structures that turn protection of the environment into a form of freedom itself. Now, I would like to give a case studies from each part and analyzing the condition from each part by those thinkers. In this presentation, when I'm saying Bakur, it means the northern part of Kurdistan, that part that gave it to Turkey in 1923, and the southern Kurdistan or Bashur, this part, and eastern Kurdistan, Rojava, the part that gave to Iran, and western of Kurdistan is Rojava or Syria. When I'm saying the ecological destruction, I mean a deliberate damage to forest, rivers, soil, air, and landscape as a part of conflict, even when the war is ended. The first case study that I would like to share with you is the Anfal campaign that took place from 1987 to 1989. The military of Baath regime assault and they killed more than 120,000 people, and 4,000 to 4,500 villages were destroyed, fields were burned, and water poisoned. Between 50,000 to 100,000 civilians were killed, and hundreds of thousands were displaced. Rural Kurdish life agriculture collapsed, and family network, local ecology was deliberately dismantled. As Fanon noted, such violence targets both people and their environment, showing how oppression and ecological destruction are deeply connected. Very sadly, on 1988, this logic reached its most horrific expression on the Halabja chemical attack that took place on March 16, 1988, where 5,000 civilians were killed instantly. More than 10,000 people were injured. The soil, water, and vegetation were poisoned. Survivors faced cancer, miscarriage, and birth defects. This attack turned air and land into an instrument of alienation, ecological destruction, weaponized to erase Kurdish survival. This attack reflects the colonial logic described by Fanon, which is ecological destruction, deploy a weapon to destroy Kurdish survival systems. The same pattern continues beyond Iraq in Turkey, where dams become tool of control and erasure. This is the example from Turkey or Bakur, which is Il Dam. Maybe you've heard about this because there is like a long campaign starting from 20s till 2019. The Islu Dam, part of Turkey's GAP project, submerged 170 kilometers of the Tigris Valley, displacing up to 78,000 people across 180 villages. Habitat for species such as the Euphrates soft-shelled turtle were lost. Women and children were especially vulnerable as the livelihood collapsed. The dam also reduced water flow downstream, worsening drought in Iraq and Syria. As Vandana Shiva argues, this kind of maldevelopment disguises destruction as progress while dispossessing communities of their land and heritage. This is Hassan Keef that was submerged 100% because of this dam, which is an ancient town in northern Kurdistan with over 12,000 years of human history. It was one of the most and ecological significant sites in the region, particularly for Kurds, Arab, and Assyrian communities. The town was tragically submerged as part of Turkey's controversial İlsu Dam project. So, this is the left from the Hassan Keef. Critics argue the dam was both an energy project and a tool of cultural erasure aimed at Kurdish identity. Turkey weaponizing water against downstream states while erasing irreplaceable heritage. This illustrates how ecological destruction severe both domestic assimilation and regional geopolitics. While Bakur faced flooding, Rojhelat suffered from drying where a lake once symbolized life. We have Lake Wurme and Rojhelat was the largest lake in Kurdistan until it dried up. It was also among the 20 largest lakes in the world and the second saltiest lake after the Dead Sea. Iran built around 56 dams in the Lake Wurme basin, mainly to expand irrigation and secure urban and industrial supply. These dams reduced inflow to the lake, accelerating its collapse, alongside groundwater pumping and drought. This created a socio-ecological crisis. Farmers suffered crop failure, village declined, and families migrated. This fits Vandana Shiva's argument that development projects often colonize nature, destroying ecological balance and cultural survival. I would like to show you, this is from Earth Temple Google, and you will see till 2080, I think. But now it's dried up completely. So let's go to Rojava. I will share with you two reports, one from CFR and PAX. The two reports confirmed or announced some data about the olive groves, which is form the backbone of local livelihood. For people, olive tree is symbol of life, memory, and culture. But after Turkey's 2080 operation, Olive Branch, according to CRF report, more than 650,000 olive trees were uprooted. Farmers lost land and harvest, with olive oil trafficked to Turkey. Beyond economics, this destruction struck at identity and cultural survival. As century-old trees were deliberately uprooted. As Öcalan argues, the destruction of ecology undermines community survival and must be met with ecological resistance. According to PAC's satellite data, confirms that Afrin lost roughly 13,000 hectares of forest and olive groves between 2017 to 2020. In some area, over half of tree cover vanished. This was not incidental, but systematic filling by armed groups, undermining biodiversity, soil stability, and long-term agriculture capacity. Seen through Öcalan's ecological paradigm, this loss is not only environmental, but also an assault on community autonomy and survival. I did put the both data from both reports in this table to show you more clear about the data related to the tree that uprooted and about the destroy of the tree and the annual economic value of oil protection and so on. It's from 2017 to 2020. Across Kurdistan, ecological resistance is inseparable from women's struggle. Till now, all I shared is a story of pain. From now, I'm sharing a story of resistance from all parts, which is not separated from women's struggle and women's participation. In Bakur, women were at the front line of Hasanki's protest, defending both land and history. And you will see from the picture that many youth and women, they did protest against the dam. And this campaign, Save the Tiger, it was started from 20th till 2019. So despite ILSU's completion, they built a powerful narrative linking cultural survival, ecology, and anti-colonial struggle. Let's go to Bashur. From the latest data, we found that 41 out of 200 are leading by women. And this is like a good point that the head of NGO is leading by women, organizing the tree planting campaign and promote ecological education are leading by women. Another example that I would like to share with you from Bashur, and Slimani women also lead the Protect Goija Mountain campaign, mobilizing volunteers to stop illegal construction and deforestation on one of the city's most important natural landmarks. Their activism raised strong public awareness about the value of nature and community responsibility in protecting green space. The same spirit of resistance continues eastward, where women in Rojhelat transform crisis into community action. According to this article, around the Lake Wurme, Kurdish women and Azeri women have organized local responses to the region's severe water crisis caused by the dam, around the Lake Wurme. Over irrigation and drought, they formed informal cooperative to share seeds and labor, switched to drought-tolerant crops, revived traditional irrigation system, and led public campaigns demanding water justice and fair access to water resources. And on 2023, a group of Iranian women staged a performance on the dry bed of Wurme Lake to draw attention to climate change crisis. Another example from Rojava, which is Jinwar village. This is a village of women. Jinwar is a radical example of women reclaiming their relationship with the land. Kurdish women have restored control over farming in ways that are ecological, sustainable, and collectively managed by creating sustainable agriculture model rooted in collective work, gender equality, and ecological stewardship. These women bring together, through this work, they comfort ecological destruction, challenge the colonial legacy, and invention a more a more just and sustainable future. In conclusion, those evidence shows ecological destruction in Kurdistan is deliberate, whispered, and long-lasting. Dam projects scorch earth, chemical weapons, and deforestation demonstrate how ecosystem and cultural are weaponized. The impact ripple across generation, destroying livelihood and heritage even after war ends. Colonial fragmentation laid the foundation for this exploitation. Yet Kurdish communities continue to resist and restore from reforestation in Rojava to local environmental NGOs in Bashur. Documenting this crisis is vital, not only for memory, but also for advancing debates on ecological as a crime and demanding justice and ecological restoration as part of peace. I would like to end my presentation by a quote from Öcalan. He's saying the ecological question is fundamentally linked to the question of freedom. Without ecology, society cannot be free, and without freedom, ecology cannot be protected. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening and for standing in solidarity with us, with all those who defend life, land, and freedom. Special thanks again to our CPT friends. May our struggle continue to grow like the trees that still root themselves in the mountain of Kurdistan.